Yeah, he likes everybody every round.
Kevin just gave a whole round of answers. I picked 3 dudes.
Every round, though.
I said you can't go wrong with any of these guys, and y'all agreed. So, what is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Signal Callers DFS Show. Today is Thursday, August 21st. We're going over some of our favorite picks from each round, round 1 all the way through round 20. So this should be a fun one. I'm Kevin. I've got Blake and Trey here with me. What's going on tonight, boys?
What up, boys? Hey, favorite picks each round. Excited for this one. We're going to try to keep this under an hour, but I know Blake's picks are going to piss me off, so we'll see what happens.
That's probably the only thing you've got right so far this year. So this should be fun. You know, I'm tired of all this preseason action. Let's go ahead and just get into the action here.
Yeah, let's get it started. We're going to start off with some news from this week. Not a ton of news has happened since the last episode. We did have a couple injury scares. T. Higgins, always one to scare everybody with his injuries. Trainers were looking at Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins today after he left practice with an ankle. But then there was another report that came out, said that Higgins had his helmet and gloves back and eventually appeared ready to join practice. So seems good to go.
Lamar, taxes, T. Higgins howling off the field, baby.
That's right. Lamar Jackson scared like half of the fantasy community today. Did not practice on Thursday after having his foot stepped on. X-rays came back negative though, so he seems to be good to go as well. So love to hear that. I think everybody is like you, Blake. We just want to get to the season with some real football and stop with all this training camp stuff. The guys have trained enough. Okay, let's actually start playing some stuff that matters.
Yeah, these preseason tweets are starting to kill me, right? The T. Higgins thing, it was like 3 seconds, like, oh, he hobbled on the field. Right. 3 seconds later, oh, he's back on. Same thing with Lamar. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I know the preseason is actually like shorter than it has been ever, but it seems like it's longer. Maybe we're just like too online. I don't know, but all right. The next one I want to talk about does have a little bit of some ramifications. Jalen Wright, running back for the Miami Dolphins, he suffers an undisclosed. Dolphins running back Jalen Wright walked off the practice field on Thursday slowly with an apparent injury and was flanked by a trainer before heading into the team's facilities for further evaluations. Shan is already nursing a calf injury. You guys have any feeling about this backfield? I know, Trey, you said that you've been mixing in some Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's crazy about this preseason news too. Like the ADP, especially on DraftKings, responds so fast. Like Ollie Gordon is now going in like the 180s now. He was free before, so little rise with him. He looked good in his preseason reps, and he's got opportunity. Again, to Blake's point last pod, like the teams are coy with these injuries, so we don't know how serious this is. There's rumors that A-Chain could miss a week to 3 weeks of the season. And now with Wright getting hurt, opportunity for Ollie Gordon, so he's draftable.
Ollie Gordon, obviously, is a good late round pick at this point. I don't think Jalen Wright's really done anything to make Miami feel like he's deserving of a for sure RB2 spot anyways.
Yeah.
But just quick interesting note, you talked about the H-hand with the calf injury. I was listening to ETR podcast with Stephania Bell and Levitan today, and I totally forgot about this, but CMC, when he missed that whole year with the Achilles or all that, it started out, they said in the preseason, it was a calf injury. Yeah. And it's just, it brought a little bit of doubt. I'm still confident H-Hand's going to play, but it definitely like, oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah. That report that we referenced last episode in regards to H-Hand with the calf injury mentioned an Achilles link, and they always talk about how calf injuries, if you rush them back, they could lead to Achilles. So hoping for the best for that one. Hopefully we don't end up with that type of news with H-Hand, but definitely something to monitor at the end of drafts with Ollie Gordon. Next one is a more positive note. Stafford has actually been a full participant in practice all week. When asked how Stafford has looked the last few days, Sean McVay says, quote, he's looked like the stud we know. So love to hear it. Obviously, all of our bags are packed on the Puka Express this year. So need that to work out. Need him to stay healthy all year. All right, that's about all I have for the news. It's the last preseason weekend, so a lot of backups, a lot of roster spots are getting filled. Most of the starters aren't playing. A lot of those jobs have been secured. Just hope for some health in this last week. But I think we're going to move on to second edition of the Blake Stat Corner. And I think Blake's got some interesting stuff cooked up for us today.
Yeah, so this is all really just a tease for what may be coming to the website later. I'm still playing with this data, QCing it a good bit. And this time I'm actually going to try to remember our audio listeners here and so speak about it a little bit more. So on the screen that I'm sharing, we're looking at two bar graphs. One is just the top 12 PPR scoring for whatever specific positions, or I'll change it here to show all positions. And so we got PPR versus the DraftKings PPR. So the big difference between these scoring is the the bonus for the 100-yard games, whether it's receiving, rushing, and 300-yard passing. And it's pretty interesting here. You can see Lamar Jackson just by far and away just blew everybody else out the water last year. And he had a 20 points of bonus there. So that equates to, a little bit over 1 point a game for him. But, let's focus down to QB a little bit more. And so we all know running quarterbacks is kind of all the rage right now. But this goes to show that it's not so much the case for DraftKings. So Joe Burrow actually got 35 points from the DraftKings bonuses. So that's, if we say 16 games, right, that is two and change points per game. So that's a pretty big bump right there. And same thing with Baker. Baker's, if we're saying 16 games, that's 3 points per game. So that's pretty solid.
I feel like Burrow's like the poster child for those bonuses right now, just because you think about pure pocket passers. That's what you need them to be constantly hitting in order to vault them up into the ranks of the rushing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and even when you go further down though, here at number 5, we got Jared Goff. He picked up 32 points, and then farther down, Brock Purdy picked up 30. So, I mean, these guys, shootout teams is, I guess, kind of what you're looking for. Pocket passes with shootout teams that they're going to have to sling it and get a lot of passing yards. They'll rack up this bonus, and 30 bonus points across the year. That's pretty good there. So don't shy away from these guys on DraftKings so much. Rushing quarterbacks don't give you as big of an advantage as they would on underdog or something like that. So yeah, a lot of cool data here. We'll keep playing with it. I'll probably try to give one cool nugget like this every pod, and eventually we'll have some deep dive reports on the website.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, as you can see, we're making updates to the site basically on a daily basis at this point. Blake is hard at work on this. So I'm
send your feedback in, and I'll get it fixed as long as I'm not traveling.
Excited to see how it keeps evolving. We're going to keep it moving, and we're going to actually jump into the main topic of today's show. So Trey's going to kick it off with round 1, and what you got for us in round 1, Trey?
Yeah, I mean, super quick. You already know if you watched episode 4, I got 2 guys in round, and really you can't go wrong. It's round 1, right? We know about the top 6, but in the top 6, my guy is Gibbs. Episode 4, right? I think he's the 101. I think this is like a 25 point per week player as a floor. I think he's going to be that explosive this year. David Montgomery came out a couple days ago and said like professed that Gibbs is the best running back in the NFL. So ringing endorsement from his teammate, from the guy that is the reason he's getting pushed down, right? Because he's going to get touches. So for Montgomery to say that just adds even more steam to his hype train. And then my guy in the bottom 6, and we kind of alluded to it too, but it's Puka. Like Puka's a guy sometimes that if I have like the 3 or 4, I might mix into that top 6. It's just something about Puka, man. He's one of those receivers that, McVay's system, like McVay knows how to feed his wide receiver 1, and his system manufactures production, right? Puka is used in the slot. He's used in motion. He's used in screens. He's used in intermediate. He's used in deep targets. So I just his usage rate, I think, is what's exciting about him. He's going to catch a lot of passes. There's a chemistry with Stafford. And so I love Puka and I love Gibbs in the first round. If you're in that back half, you can't go wrong with Puka. And if you're in the top half, grab Gibbs.
Yeah, I mean, my only comment on that is the first round feels like you can't miss anywhere, right? As long as you're drafting somebody within the first 15 spots of ADP, you're feeling pretty good.
Do you have, so I know we want to keep this pretty tight, but I do have a question about CMC. So there has been some talk about him feeling a little bit more risky just because of the injuries. Obviously, nobody is healthy in San Francisco except for him. Some of the quotes coming out have been that he looks back to his all-pro self. Do you have any reservations? Obviously, there's a point where you click him regardless, but do you have any injury reservations in regards to him? Because he hasn't been super healthy over the last like 4 to 5 years.
No.
No, I don't.
Quick answer.
In fact,
No.
I think like, he's my favorite pick at 7. I think if you're convicted about CMC, like don't just get your obligatory 8%. Get more than that. I mean, yeah, he's healthy, and this is a guy that like could challenge Chase for the true 101, right? Like he's that dude. We've seen it before.
He's done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's move on to round 2. I'm going to take this one. Again, I still think we're in that range where it's kind of hard to miss on some of these guys. Obviously, we've been in some drafts where people just go nuts and get their guys, quote unquote. But my favorite pick here is Bowers. I think you probably have to be at the top of the second round. I have seen him kind of slide towards the end of the second round in some places, but look, we talked about it before. We like getting these guys that could be potential game breakers, and Bowers is the quintessential tight end for that, right? He's a guy that you could potentially count as like 2 tight end scores every week for you, right? Maybe McBride is the only one that kind of comes close when we're talking about that, but I think Bowers feels like the best click for me personally in round 2, and then you just never have to worry about tight end until like the past round 15 or 16 if you want to just get a fill-in down there. So I do have an honorable mention for the second round. We talked about Blake's love for Drake London in the past, but I also am a big Drake London supporter. I'm a big fan of him as well. I don't actually have a ton of him this year just because of how I kind of fall. And again, I'm usually trying to get Bowers in the second if I can. But yeah, love Drake London, love his connection with Penix. We saw it at the end of last year. Penix is just going to funnel him the ball. And again, who else is catching balls in Atlanta? Is this the Kyle Pitts year? I mean, we hope so, but we don't know, right? So Mooney is hurt, or he has been hurt all camp. Ray McLeod, I guess, maybe. So again, just London is he might get 200 targets, so big fan of those 2 picks in round 2.
I feel a little bit hurt every draft that I don't come away with Bowers at this point. Yeah, so it's regrets instantly.
Yeah, not much to say. I love Powers there, but I'm really happy both of you guys are pumping my bags here. Got a little Puka love, got some Drake London love here, so you're making me feel good before the reality kicks in and beats me down.
We talk about guys who could potentially be the number ones at their position, and I feel like there are a couple guys in the second round. BTJ falls into the second, and he has a legitimate shot at it. But I think Drake London is that next guy that could potentially be, if he's a wide receiver 1 at the end of the year, it's not that surprising, right? So
the first 2 rounds feel good, kind of just all over.
But I'm just saying, there's probably not too many guys after Drake London that you would say like. I mean, do you see Ladd McConkey being the wide receiver 1?
No, they don't have the passing volume over there. They're like 29th last year or something in pass volume or pass attempts. Like it's
with Drake London, you're probably at the edge of the guys who could potentially be that guy. So yeah, I love taking as many shots on him as I can.
Love it. So I'm going to jump in here to round 3. So it's picks 25 to 36. Looked at the ADP as of today. I don't know if Kevin gave the date, but it's August 21st as we're recording. Man, if you can't figure it out yet, it's kind of a theme here. I'm going George Kittle. So we really like the elite tight end strategy. All 3 of us apparently this year. George Kittle actually scored more points per game than Brock Bowers last year, which is a fun fact. But George Kittle does miss a game here and there usually. So he's a little bit more volatile. He'll give you those really low weeks, and then he'll give you a 30-point week, which in best ball, we don't really care because it's cumulative score. He was like 15.7 points per game to Bowers being 15.4. So it was close, but he did beat him out there. And there's no other pass catchers in San Francisco healthy. You just mentioned that. The offense is going to have to make up a lot of ground for the defense in San Francisco. That defense is not what they were. So I'm looking at this being a shootout team. Like I said, shootout team with concentrated volume between CMC, Kittle, and Pearsall. Like I like all 3 of these guys. George Kittle in the 3rd round here, just talk about a differentiator because there's such a big gap after him. Right. It's unreal.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if I miss out on Bowers or if I miss out on McBride, I'm trying to grab Kittle. Like we mentioned, being elite tight end fans want to walk away with one of these 3 guys, and this is like the last chance that you get at him in the 3rd round. So Yeah, and he has this like innate connection with Purdy. We talk about what was the narrative with Stafford and Cup where they would get breakfast or something
The
like
breakfast,
that.
the breakfast club.
Something similar with Purdy and Kittle. So wheels up for him. He's always good for, like you said, a slate breaking type of score once or twice a year.
Yeah. Apparently, we're going to do a lot of tight ends tonight. I'm surprised you didn't pick one of the elite QBs, but I love Kittle. I don't have as much as him as I would like because I take a lot of Bowers or McBride. But if I miss on that guys, if I miss on either of those guys, he's definitely a guy I'm trying to click.
Yeah, I mean, you would think we would go elite QB after looking at last year's scores, and we just saw the bar for Lamar Jackson being so much larger than everybody else, right?
Right.
But no, that's just George Kittle's the easy click for me here.
Yeah. What about you, Trey? Moving on to round 4.
Round 4. This is I love rounds 4 and 5, by the way. So I got 2 guys. The first one is Xavier Worthy. Mahomes' wide receiver 1 role is up for grabs, obviously, during the main stretch of the season with the Rashee Rice suspension looming. This is a golden opportunity for him to thrive. And I know we kind of, rained on their offense dip last year in the last episode, but this is still a potent offense. This is still Andy Reid. This is still one of the NFL's most explosive offenses, right? We could wax poetic about the speed, right? He's still the NFL combine record holder with a 4.21. This dude's explosive, man. And the thing with him this year is he's not just a gunner. I think the reports out of camp is he's improved his route running. So they're going to use him in more ways, similar to Puka, right? With the screens and the motions. You get that guy running from behind the line of scrimmage, and no one's going to run with him. So it's the blistering speed, and look, he had some awesome playoff performances last year. I think this is the year he breaks 80 catches in the 1,000-yard ceiling and kind of asserts himself 8-10 touchdowns as one of those guys. The other guy, and this is kind of cheating because he's recently entered this range, but TreVeyon Henderson.
How do you have 2 favorites?
Yeah, this round 4 is a gold mine, honestly. But TreVeyon Henderson, again, did y'all see that kick return? Like the blistering speed, man. And with him and Worthy, it's like these are both guys that only need a handful of touches to break slates. Like they could just, like the speed is next level. So, in best ball, those are the guys you want, right? And so those are my 2 guys in this range that, depending on how my build's going, I like to try to tack on at least one of these guys, get some game breakers on the roster.
Yeah, so my quip here would be, I've never heard somebody, lead off about their favorite pick in a round, or 4th round at least, being about a kick return. And then I think about Kyron Williams, the punt returner last year.
The punt returner?
Yeah. But no, I love Worthy. Henderson, it's starting to get rich for me right here. I could take him in the back half.
He's starting to go above.
I'm about to say, it might not be too much longer that you can
get him in he's rich for me.
Yeah.
He's rich for me. Worthy, though, I love the pick. They started scheming for him last year, though. You could see, like, after the bye, they started throwing him lower depth of targets. So he started running some different routes. He got a couple goal line catches for touchdowns, right? Like, that's something you don't normally see from smaller guys who, have trouble coming off the line, stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm all in for Worthy. They've been talking all year. Andy Reid's been saying, get your hamstrings ready. No.
Yeah, and people are scared of him because he's got this slight frame. He's only 5'11". He's a smaller guy, and he's kind of working the field in those high-risk areas. But the dude shows up, man. He's a gamer. And, like, again, no one can run with him.
He's not like the typical speedsters that have been coming out and kind of not doing anything, right? Like a Tyquan Thornton. This guy was a good route runner coming out of college. There's a difference.
Yeah, I like this one. I love the rookies, so I'm trying to get as much Henderson as I can. Usually he's going even earlier than this, so it's tough to snag him. He's steaming up faster than almost anybody, it seems. Let's move on to round 5. So I've got round 5. I just put a plethora of dudes on here because, again, like Trey said, these 2 rounds feel so good. It's kind of like in the first 2 rounds. It's hard to pick a wrong guy, right? So I'm just going to list a bunch. Sutton, Pickens, Ridley, Devonta Smith, Egbuka's getting up there, Zay Flowers, Ricky Pearsall, running backs, James Conner, RJ Harvey. Like, all of these dudes I would take over Chuba, who is in that range. So I don't want Chuba. Chuba just doesn't feel great to me. There's just a committee feel. They brought in Dowdle. They drafted ETN. Snap share drops from 85 from 88% to about 50 or 60%. He's not very efficient. He's a poor receiver. Success rate is not great in the receiving game. I just think he's overpriced for a regression risk, and I just don't have any Chuba at all. So again, all of these dudes, I think I named off like 7 or 8 receivers and then 2 running backs. So it's hard to go wrong in this round unless you pick Chuba, in my opinion.
I gave Trey hell for picking 2, and then you blow it out the water and go with the whole round.
We got to give the people what they want, man.
It really does feel like rounds 4 and 5 are like your swing picks, right? I mean, Jamo's in that range. All these guys, right?
Yeah. In this round of all these people, my favorite pick, or I guess, 2 favorite picks would have to be Pickett's and Pearsall by far. Right. I think Pearsall is going to be the wide receiver 1 there. He looks like he's kind of developed some zone, able to attack the zone a little bit better, which is where he was weak last year. And Pickens, I think he's finally on a good offense, and he's just going to go absolutely nuts. Right. I think Dak's going to have Tommy John surgery at the end of the year because he's just going to throw the ball so much.
My guys in this range, I like Devontae Smith and Zay Flowers. I think I've said it before. I think Zay Flowers is an emerging star, and people just like the cloud of AJ Brown. I love them both, but Devontae Smith was a Heisman Trophy winner, dude. Like, this dude is a dog, and I think I've said it before. I think Philly throws more, and I love Devontae Smith. And people like pass on him, but I love he's a fun click.
I do want to talk about just real quick. I want to talk about Egbuka because I know we keep talking about how like Trey was drafting him in the 90s earlier in the summer, and now he's all the way up into the 5th round. Is that too rich? Like, for the type of role that he could potentially have? Like, I mean, he's now firmly planted in the wide receiver 2 role in Tampa. Is it inconceivable to see him pass up Mike Evans as a number 1? If it takes Godwin a month to even get back on the field, he's not even running right now. Like we talked about it in the last episode. I mean, I don't know. There's just a chance that he just runs away with the wide receiver 1 role on this team potentially. So
yeah, he's not taking it from Mike Evans, but
well, I don't know. Mike Evans, he's not getting any younger, man, and they had to manufacture him that 1,000-yard bonus last year. So I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the year it's Egbuka's team and Mike Evans is kind of riding off into the sunset. So if that's the case, he should be being talked about with Tet. He should be being talked about in the 4th round or even higher. So I feel like he's definitely a guy. Yeah,
I can see it. Yeah. We thought it was rich, and some grim stuff came out about Godwin last couple of days, man.
I didn't realize the extent of his injury and stuff like that, but it's just so weird that the Patriots, offered him all that money and he didn't take that. There's a lot of like thinking that he knew he wasn't right and stuff, so maybe that's why he didn't go.
Wouldn't have passed a physical or something like that.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I don't think he'll beat Mike Evans for a wide receiver 1, but I could see him being a Godwin replacement, right? Which is still really good. We'd be drafting Godwin higher if it was just a healthy Godwin.
Sure. Let's move on to round 6, Blake. What you got?
Yeah, so round 6. So I'm going with Jalen Waddle here. In 2024, he had a ton of injuries, right? And so I think in the preseason, he had a bunch of undisclosed injuries, right? So he like didn't do any of the preseason, and I think he played week 1, but he had like a non-contact jersey going all up into there. So week 4, he's getting an ankle injury. Then he gets a quadriceps injury in week 8, hamstring in week 15, and then a knee injury, same week 15 there. So he had a brutal season, right? It was bad for him. And so I'm buying these bad vibes, right? We know he's good. Last year was as bad as it can get. Tua was out too for a lot of the season. And, both these guys are 2 years removed from being excellent players. Tua led the league in yards, and Waddle was just, I forgot, he was the top 15 wide receiver, I believe. So, I'm just kind of closing my eyes at this point and betting on talent. With the Tyreek downfall, I'm thinking, this is Waddle's time to be wide receiver 1. Tyreek part of me kind of thinks he's acting crazy to get traded, right? He kind of burned the bridges there in Miami. He's trying to get traded, and then Waddle, he's just going to be running off. So I'm buying them. It's a creative offense. Mike McDaniel still knows how to scheme. As long as Tua is healthy, man, they're going to score points and roll. And they have a really easy strength of schedule this year too. So
yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. I've been taking him a lot. I buy that Tyreek might not end the year on the teams. I feel like if that's the case, you won't be able to get him in round 6 again for very long. So
feels like
I'm in on this one.
a little bit of a teardrop after him and Hunter too.
Exactly.
In that range, and he's a guy that has massive upside. Kerrane did an article on him as like a breakout mid-round receiver. That's pretty compelling.
All right, moving on. Trey, round 7.
Yeah, I got 2 guys again, and if I'd known we had already talked about 2 tight ends by now, I wouldn't have put the second guy in here. Stephon Diggs. You all know we love Drake May. Kevin, if you need to hear the Patriots pitch, go listen to the Stacks episode. I think there's been a little bit of a market overreaction to his ACL, this perceived age decline. Him dating Cardi B is supposed to make him like a worse NFL player. It's gotten a little ridiculous, I think. And the thing is like he's no longer priced like an elite. The risk is already baked in. You can get him in the 70s, 80s, right? So it's like he's been cutting and looking dominant and looking like he's miraculously healed from this thing 6 months from surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And in best ball, we care about players who can post 25 points randomly. And I think Stephon Diggs still has that, right? He's got the elite production history. He can play slot. He can play at lineup outside. I think he had 6 straight 1K yard seasons, 4-time Pro Bowler. Like this dude is an alpha receiver. And he's connected to Drake May, who might be one of the best quarterbacks for the next decade. He's his number 1. So love him in that Josh McDaniels system. And then I put Hawkinson in here. I feel like Hawkinson's being slept on, man. I actually really like Hawk this year. Like we talked, like everyone's after those elites, and then if they can't get them, they grab Warren. People kind of sleeping on like the Laporta Hawk tier just because of everyone expects Detroit to take a dip with Ben Johnson leaving. But Hawkinson, like I think he's due for a bounce back. He's a year removed from this injury. He missed 7 games last year and scored 0 touchdowns, right? But he was the tight end 2 and the tight end 4 back in 2022 and 2023, respectively. Obviously, you got the Addison suspension, and this is like an underrated fact. Like Colston Loveland lit it up with JJ McCarthy as his quarterback in Michigan. So he actually has a higher yards per route run than McBride, and one of the highest targets per route run at the position. So I think he's a sleeper at the tight end position, especially like if you want to lean into that tier a little more. I've been taking Hawk a little bit more too. Honorable mention, Bo Nix. I think the Denver Broncos have the best defense in the NFL, and I think they're legit Super Bowl contenders. And so he's also got the rushing upside. He's Sean Payton. You know how we feel about Sean Payton?
If you can't tell, Trey's got a very flat exposure across the board, and
got a lot of guys
in his portfolio. Yeah, he likes everybody every round.
Kevin just gave a whole round of answers. I picked 3 dudes.
Every round, though.
I said you can't go wrong with any of these guys, and y'all agreed. So
yeah.
No, I like that. Good. I like the Diggs take. Obviously, I'm in on him. I'm a big Pats believer in best ball this year, so I like to take him and then follow him up with Drake May as a stacking partner. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that one.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing I have to say here is 1, there's kind of a theme, right? We're buying on the receivers that were hurt last year, and 2, since round 4, right? We had Worthy. Kevin had a whole round of wide receivers, basically Waddle, and then you're mentioning Diggs. So it's really just going in to say, hey, lean into the RBs first, for a few rounds, and then because they have some good wide receivers in these later rounds here. So yeah, I like Diggs as well.
It's kind of on theme too because we hit on all the elite tight ends. It's obvious that we like Bowers. We obviously love McBride. We didn't mention him anywheres, but and then Kittle. So we are fans of going tight end QB early and then loading up on these dudes in the middle rounds because they feel pretty good. So I'm actually going to touch on one of them right now in round 8, and I'm only going to mention one this time. So relax, everybody. But it's Jordan Addison, and I think this is going to be a great year for him. Elite touchdown upside, big playability, big spike week candidate. He is a great wide receiver 3 or 4, especially if you get one of the elites up at the top. He is working with the 3-game suspension, so you do have to weather that storm. And I think that is why his ADP has pushed down into this range, because I don't think a lot of people know how to deal with that. But, if you are a believer in JJ McCarthy, which I don't necessarily know that I am, but I'm a believer in Kevin O'Connell, which leads me to believe in McCarthy. Just look at what he did with Sam Darnold last year. Is it Sam Bradford, right? No.
Throwback.
Throwback. That's how old we are. Sam Darnold, this dude was left for dead, and he had a career year last year under Kevin O'Connell. So McCarthy was handpicked by O'Connell. I lend credence to that, and that's why I'm kind of all in on Addison in this range to kind of fill out those rosters that you kind of build for the early part of the season, and then he comes in at the end of September, and he's a potential wide receiver 2 or high end wide receiver 2 the rest of the way.
Yeah, not much for me to say here besides the fact that I love it, right? He's suspended the first 3 games, but that's okay because that means it's not a performance inhibitor when he comes back, right? He's just going to come back full speed. The guy's got like 22 touchdowns over his first 2 seasons. And that's absolutely incredible, especially when you look at the people who's been throwing the ball, right? He had like Josh Dobbs and all of them the first years. That's terrible. I think somebody's just being slept on completely for maybe it's the suspension, just being Justin Jefferson's number 2. But I'm in.
He's cutting up in camp too. Like McCarthy and him have something brewing.
All right, let's move on to round 9. Blake, what's your guide on this one?
Round 9, we're looking at 97, pick 97 to pick 108 in this range. So I went with Keon Coleman here. It's not somebody who I get a ton, but I really like him. I'm usually just slammed with wide receivers at this point, but I really like him. And it's kind of the same reasons that we've been talking about Egbuka, right? Khalil Shakir is the only person in front of him and who I don't even think is a great talent, right? We talk about, I mentioned how Mike Evans, I don't think, Egbuka is going to steal this, spotlight from Mike Evans. But I feel like Shakir is just a step of a guy, So I think Keon Coleman's just got a perfect spot to really show out in one of the highest scoring offenses in the league. Somebody's got to catch some balls over here. Somebody's got to catch some touchdowns, and he's got the size, the frame, and the contested catchability to do it. Last year, he was kind of plagued by injuries. He started out pretty good, and then I think injuries kind of got him. So, yeah, once again, buying the injury dip on a really good offense.
I love Coleman. He's like Khalil Shakir just kind of feels like a boring click. And so if I get Josh Allen, like he's the guy, him and Kincaid are the guys I'm kind of targeting. There was a clip of, I think it was an offensive lineman with the Bills. He was like it's night and day with Keon Coleman.
I saw that today.
Night and day. Like he is not the same player. And I think that's significant that it's coming from his peers, not just coach speak. And if you're watching Hard Knocks, they're going to be intentional with him this year. I think he's due for a year or 2 breakout for sure. I like this one.
Yeah, I like this one too. Louisiana guy. We watched him.
He's hilarious, by the way.
He's so funny. His clips coming out like right after he got drafted were just awesome. So go check that out if you haven't seen it. Yeah, don't really have anything to add to this one. I'm a big fan. So let's keep it moving. Trey, into round 10. A familiar face is coming back onto the pod.
Yeah, it's gonna be quick. We might as well just get to round 11. I'm just gonna read the names in this range: 109 to 120. Chris Godwin, Jaden Higgins, Rashid Shaheed, Keenan Allen, Quinshon Judkins, Rashad Bateman, Javonte Williams, Tucker Kraft, Justin Herbert, Marvin Mims, Christian Kirk, Cam Scatterbo. Rashid Shaheed is the best click in this range for round 10. It's well documented on this pod. He's the Saints MVP right now. Expanded route tree, speedster guy, can break fantasy. Draft Rashid Shaheed. Just do it. I mean, like he's just a comfy click to your wide receiver room. Like you need some juice, need for speed. Rashid Shaheed, baby.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
We don't got anything to say on that one. Go.
Do you like any of those other guys?
Yeah, I mean, like maybe like it just depends on like if you need a different position. Like I could see you go Tucker Kraft. I could see you going, Scatterbo or whoever, like another running back. But like the best value, like the person who's going to score the most fantasy points by far is
he screams like the steal of that round. Like if you just look at the guy, like besides Drake May and Tucker Kraft, But even then, it's like
just go listen to the last 15 minutes of the last pod just to see how we really feel about Rashid and Olave for that fact. So yeah, not a lot to say on that one. Let's keep it moving. Round 11. This one is me. Picks 121 through 132. I'm going to go with another wide receiver here. This is one of Trey's guys we've talked about before. It's Luther Burden for Chicago. Explosive. just the ideal landing spot for this guy with Ben Johnson in Chicago. He's got he's really good with the ball in his hands, great yak ability. It means that you love the potential for like manufactured touches in a Ben Johnson offense. And they went out and they targeted him and they went out and got their guy. So I don't think it's very inconceivable that he overtakes DJ Moore or Odunze as either the wide receiver 2 or potentially the 1 on this team. He's just an insane athlete. Not a lot of people may remember how hyped he was in college because he kind of broke out in his sophomore year, and then he had a dip of performance in his junior year. So, I remember when we were talking like in dynasty leagues, we always look a year or two out at who's coming down the pike, and Luther Burden was listed right up at the top of that draft list. Kind of had some shine taken off of him in his junior year, but didn't fall very far in the draft. Ben Johnson made it a priority to go out and get him, add him to this team, add him to the Caleb Williams development train. Wheels up for Luther Burden. I'm a big fan of this one.
I love it. My highest drafted player for a reason. This dude is, I think Luther Burden is the best pick on the board. Honestly, I think he's so undervalued. Like this is a guy that could have went top 10 in the draft, slid to 39, like stupid yak ability. The thing is, like, if you go look at Ben Johnson's slot receivers ever since he's been coaching, they've all been fantasy cheat codes. They always smash. He's had Amonra for years. He's had Keenan. He's had all these guys that he just feeds his slot receiver. This dude's going to be a slot demon, man. I'm telling you, Luther Burden, super athletic. I love this pick. I think he's the best pick on the board with where he's going.
So I'm not going to say I love the pick. I see it. I hear it. I mean, we got to disagree on somewhere, right? We've been saying we love everybody's picks like the whole way.
Fair point.
I think there's just a lot of mouths to feed there. Ben Johnson does a really good job of spreading the ball around.
Yeah, I will say I do kind of agree with you that he might start slower in the sense of like you said, there are a lot of mouths to feed. Loveland was also a first round pick, so he was actually the first tight end off the board, which was a little surprising. But
10 pick,
yeah, so he's definitely going to be involved. But again, these are Ben Johnson's guys, right? These are the guys that he went out and drafted first for this team as his first head coaching gig. So you imagine that eventually, at some point during the year, they kind of flip. At least DJ Moore. I feels like DJ Moore is going to be the odd man out the further into camp we keep going. So I don't know.
And Rome Odunze had a concerning rookie year, man. Like it's hard to ignore.
You want to talk about camp drumbeat, dude? He's the one who's got the strongest drumbeat of like everybody is Rome, man. So I can't. You can't tell me Luther's got a good drumbeat when Rome's been stronger. So
yeah, you want Rome? Go ahead, draft him at 60. That's fine.
I do.
I might be single-handedly pulling Luther out of this range, his ADP out of this range.
Yeah. What do you know your exposure off the top of your head?
I am at 21.5%. Highest drafted player. I've drafted him 79 times.
That's actually lower than I thought you were going to say, though, to be honest. But
he's got a lot of drafts, right? So
I haven't done a pool in a while too, so I probably need to refresh.
Yeah. All right, that was let's move on to round 12. Keep it moving. Blake, who you got for this one?
Yeah, so Trey, your predictions in the very beginning. This is the pick that's going to make you mad here, right? So 133 to 144. This is like the range where Bill Krosky Merritt's going. This is the range where Jaden Blue's going. Tootin's pretty close to this range too. I think he's at the back half of it here. But the pick that I'm going with a lot, and talked about it last pod, right? My narrative is I'm buying behind dusty old running backs, right? Is Trey Benson. So, and I'm not saying I don't like those other guys, but the easiest click here for me, usually I need somebody with some standalone value. And, James Conner himself talked about this being a 1A, 1B backfield. James Conner is 30 years old. He's missed a good bit of games across his career. So, Trey Benson was drafted in the, his second pick in the third round. He had 9.76 relative athletic score. He's got 3 down potential. He's got hands. It's a very effective run scheme. He averaged 4.62 yards per carry last year, with about 10 yards per catch. So he's pretty efficient in that small sample size. The guy runs a 4.39. So he's got some big playability there too. But, one thing I really, really like is the easiest strength of schedule, according to PFF, for the Cardinals. So like that right there has got me buying into just like the run game is going to be good all over in Arizona. And if maybe James Conner gets his early on, let the young guy get some run.
Yeah, I'm a Trey Benson guy. Again, I drafted him over Brian Thomas Jr. in a dynasty league, which never feels good to talk about. Keeps me up at night. So I am praying for a Benson breakout at some point. So I'll ride the train on this one with you.
Turn in your LSU fan card, man.
No, it keeps me up at night.
Benson's a second-year player or third year?
Second.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not mad at it. I like the value in this range. If you got an Arizona stack, he's kind of like the favorite to tack on in the late rounds.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't
I like
much.
him. I'd rather him over Michael Wilson.
Right. There's not a lot after McBride to stack with him.
So my thinking over those other guys too really is like, this is a clear 1-2 or a 1A 1B backfield, if that is true, right? Compared to Bill Krosky-Merritt, who's definitely sharing time with at least two other people. And Aiden Blue, like, we don't even, he hasn't gotten to play in the preseason too much, and rookie's not playing in the preseason. That's never great. It's always going to be a slow start. And then Tootin, that's a 3-headed monster.
We're gonna put that on Blake's grave. Jacksonville was a 3-headed monster. That's why I didn't.
Lost out on $2 million because I hated Bashaw Tootin.
All right, that's a perfect segue. Let's move into rounds 13 through 15 for Trey. He's got our boy listed here. I'll take it away, Trey.
Our boy, huh?
It's not Blake's boy. It's it's no surprise, man. Look, we've talked this dude up. This pick, this bet, right? Like in this range. And Kevin, how dare you not put Bill Krosky-Merritt in your range earlier? But look, this hinges on if you talked about it, the elite athleticism, the potential to seize this backfield. It's got a lot of question marks, right? Like Etienne's being shopped around. Bixby's kind of a 2-down guy. He runs a 4.3 40. We've talked about that. Proven college production. Favorable landing spot with Liam Cohen. Who emphasizes mismatches. Getting playmakers in space, dual threat back. I don't want to I hate the name drop stuff, but I could see his journey playing out a lot like A-Chain's his rookie year, where he crescendos throughout the season, and then the next year he's a stud. Like if he improves the ball security, my favorite comp with Bashaw is like a young Aaron Jones. Like that's what I see in him when I watch him run. I think again, one of my favorite picks on the board. Like best ball, we talk about ambiguous backfields. This is the guy that in that range, I'm just clicking. Like I want that dude. I want that moonshot, because if he gets an opportunity, I just don't see him giving it back. The coaches wanted him. This regime wanted him. They went and got him. So yeah, Bashaw Tootin, no surprise here. Y'all shouldn't even give me this range.
Well, look, man, my bags are packed. Okay, he is my second highest drafted player.
Help Blake win some money.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll rename the pod after Bashaw Tootin if one of us pulls down the millie on his back. So
Bill and Bashaw.
Yeah,
it's gonna be me.
Yeah, that would be so funny if it's on Blake's team. Blake, do you have anything to say about this? Your Bashaw Tootin takes your Bashaw Tootin takes are well documented.
I'm not a hater, right? I've been drafting him, and to be fair to me, he's technically in your range, not the range that I was given to pick a player in. I said he was just close, right? He was on the very edge of mine. He's back end mine, very front end yours. So I mean, I don't hate it, right? I think he's got a lot of upside. The ceiling's there, so it's just. You're taking a chance. You're throwing a dart.
At this point in the draft, that's kind of what we're doing, though, right? Like we are throwing some darts at this point. So, which kind of leads us into our next rounds. We're gonna lump rounds 16 through 18. I'm gonna take this one. These are picks 170 through 216. So a pretty big range, 3 rounds. And Blake's gonna be mad at me, but I listed a few guys again.
I just saw that. But
the thing
incredible.
This is where I fill in my running back rooms. I'm a big fan of the 3-6-8-3 roster builds. So I like to get probably at least one, if not 2 of these guys. And those guys are Woody Marks, Will Shipley, Keaton Mitchell, Roshan Johnson. Taj Brooks is one of my heaviest exposure guys. Chris Rodriguez now that we got some Brian Robinson.
Welcome to the dark side.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, hey, why not at this point? And then DJ Giddens. A lot of these guys are contingency backs. They all need something to happen in front of them. Could probably throw Tyler Algier in here. I don't know if he fell exactly in this range, but I feel like he goes around a lot of these.
I think he's higher than that.
Okay. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, Shipley obviously is linked to Barkley. We've talked about these heavy workload guys coming back a year later. Keaton Mitchell, same in Baltimore. Roshan Johnson already has goal line work, so he has some standalone upside. And then obviously Chris Rodriguez, we know what's happening in Washington, and then DJ Giddens. He's a great back in his own right. So if JT goes down, great.
JT
he's
goes
in a
down
great spot
every year. He's an awesome.
Yeah, and DJ Giddens. If JT goes down, DJ Giddens is probably at the very least an RB2, potentially an RB1 in that offense. So yeah, I think it's a great range for these running backs. Not a lot of wide receivers are standing out to me in these rounds. So I'm usually just filling up my running back room with some of these guys.
I like these. Can I throw two names in the hat here?
Go for it.
I mean, it's the whole round at that point, so why not?
Alec Ayumanor and Troy Franklin. Particularly
Troy Franklin's a little interesting now after the Vele trade.
The Vele trade, exactly. And he's been like the Broncos camp MVP. He's somebody to monitor. And Alec looks like a route running stud. Like they got a gym with him. So
I mean, we talked about the Titans offense too. You know, they're an interesting team to stack, especially with how late Cam Ward goes. And, you know, he's got some interesting rookie stack partners with Io Manor, and DK goes even later.
Pretty ambiguous wide receiver room, right?
Yeah. And Io Manor has looked great through the preseason. So yeah, I actually do like that one as well.
Yeah, just to close it out. Right here, right? We talked about narratives and stuff last week, and my narrative is kind of just I'm fading a lot of running backs this year because it's a really deep rookie class, and you named multiple rookies here, right? DJ Giddens, I really loved his tape coming out of college. Taj Boyd was also a great runner. Woody Marks, he catches a lot of balls, right? And is like one of the best pass blockers. I love his opportunity there. He's just got a 7th round.
On that point, on the Woody Marks point, go watch the Penn State USC highlights. That game, Woody Marks has some pretty nice runs in that one.
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically
he had a couple good preseason runs.
It's basically a Tyler Warren mixtape, but you know, they got some good Woody Marks stuff in that one.
And Woody's like don't let your bias of guys you like keep you from drafting guys who have actual opportunity, right? Like Woody Marks is one of those dudes that we don't know what the heck's going on in the Texans.
So I guess I'll close it out here with Browns 19 and 20, so 217 to 240. I'm throwing another running back in there who I believe is more talented than all the ones that you just mentioned. He just can't stay healthy. Marshawn Lloyd, man. He's just... Yeah.
Is he your highest drafted player?
No, he was when we talked about it.
The guy's super talented, right? And he was having a huge camp. He just can't stay healthy. He caught that 30-yard wheel route in the preseason. He got hit really hard, and I think he's got a hamstring issue now. But I think he'll be back week 2, something like that. So at this point, I'm okay with drafting him still, right? He's still behind Josh Jacobs, who's had a huge workload his entire college and pro career. It's a matter of time. And I love Matt LaFleur's scheme, right? They ran the ball so effectively last year, even with, Malik Willis at quarterback. Mm-hmm. So no threat to throw the ball. But my real, pick here, because I like to pick one guy for my range, is Jalen Coker.
You pick 2? All right.
Yeah. Well, here's the real guy. Here's the real pick that I love in this range is Jalen Coker, right? The Panthers wide receiver room is a mess. Tet's the only clear alpha there. You got Adam Thielen, who's 35. Hunter Renfrow hasn't played in a couple years, and Leggett is we haven't really seen anything from him. So, it's got to be a matter of time before he starts coming off the field. But Coker in his, rookie year as an undrafted free agent, he got on the field and showed out. He had 15 yards per catch. He had 10 yards per target and elite 2.97 yards per route run. I mean, that is elite. It's a small sample size, but it's elite. I didn't realize he's 6'3", 213 pounds. The guy has 98 percentile burst score and a 97 percentile catch radius. Like he's got the measurables. The guy is incredible there. And then, you know, back in college, he 3.51 yards per route run. So he's been extremely efficient everywhere he's been. And, you know, that 3.51 lines up with another guy we've really liked over the last few years, Cooper Kupp, right? Another smaller school guy. So, you know, I think he's just one of those guys that can break through. We've seen some huge plays from him. Him and Bryce seem to have a pretty good connection. So as long as Bryce can really continue where he left off last year, I think Coker's a smash at the end of the round here.
I've got a lot of Coker just because we talked about this before. I've got a lot of Panthers. That is my highest drafted player, so I always follow him up with Bryce if I can, and then, you know, it's easy to throw Coker, Jatavian Sanders on at the end. There's players in drafts, they just are like talking to me like the Green Goblin mask all the time.
Yeah,
they're like,
so cheap.
You know, I could be weighing a better player, but I just look over and I see that Panthers logo, and, you know, I got to click it. So I don't know what it is, but maybe we talked about bad teams to have, right? Maybe they're the ones this year.
Another Blake pick that I like. There's rumors circulating that Adam Thielen, Minnesota's aggressively.
But yeah, the mini trade rumors. That's interesting.
Aggressively shopping for a vet, and, you know, bring back Adam Thielen, which would open up things there for Coker and Leggett and Tet. So yeah, I like this pick. He's a good bet here.
Hunter Renfrow, anybody?
Yeah. He hasn't played. I mean, I think he's still good, but
anybody?
Yeah, I didn't mention him, but he's had a really good camp too.
Hey man, Derwin James,
he's just so small.
Derwin James listed Hunter Renfrow in his like top 5 wide receivers to cover. So yeah, you know,
that was an interesting tidbit there.
He shocked Ryan Clark.
Because they call him the encyclopedia sales. That's what he looks like he does. So just one more thing for your Panthers bags, Kevin. They play the Saints and then Tampa weeks 15 and 16. So 15 and 16. So those are really good matchups for him. So like week 15, week 16, you know, he could be that differentiator for you to get you through, and just give me a chance in week 17. I don't even care. Just get me to the show.
It's Seattle. That's who it is.
That's what it is. Yeah, I knew it was somebody who's not.
It's kind of tough. It's
not a good
matchup to get those stacks. So you kind of have to go with, like, I've done it where I got JS in and I came back around and stacked him with Tet. That feels pretty good. But there's not a whole lot.
Chuba.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot at the back end of the Seattle roster. Torrey Horton is somebody that you can throw in at the back of those rounds. So usually
I like him too.
Just to kind of tie a bow on this, on the last few rounds, one of the things that I'm trying to do most of the time is I'm trying to complete bringbacks if I can. You know, I got a lot of AD Mitchell because I have a lot of Jags stacks, you know. So guys like that could complete either a team stack or a bringback in week 16 or 17. It's kind of easy. I've been taking a lot of Tesla or what, however you pronounce
whatever it is.
Yeah, so I've been taking a lot of him just to stack up with, because I've gotten a lot of Jefferson in the last few drafts that I've done. So, you know, just taking some shots on some of these guys that, you know, the path might not be clear right now, but they have a big role at the end of the year, and you know, and it could pay off in a big way.
Yeah, especially in like the Millie tournament where you got 1,000-person final. That's when these bringbacks are more important, right? But even in non-Millie tournaments, like guys who can just spike late season, we talked about it, good guys with upside on bad teams that may be resting or just kind of seeing what they have in their rookies or their young players. He's one of those guys right there with Fannin, which I can't believe didn't make this list. That you ought to
we
be
did all 10 minutes on Fannin last episode.
Yeah, we did enough Fannin for the next 2 years.
He could have been in the last 3 ranges, honestly.
That's true. All right. Well, this one was pretty good. I feel like we did good on time as well. So kept it pretty tight throughout all the rounds. You guys got anything before we head out that y'all want to touch on?
No, but we keep mentioning about correlation, stacking, all that, and I'm not super convinced DraftKings is like, the scoring system tends to go towards less correlation because of the bonuses, the PPR, things like that. So I'm gonna have to do a little research report, and we'll put our hypothesis up, and then we'll test it against the data here.
Let's get another draft like next week. Next week's the last week before the week with the first game. So
we'll save a milli for us, Trey.
Yeah, I got 4 left.
Next Saturday is our home draft. maybe we'll do a live in-person episode, live in-person draft or something.
We could do that.
Yeah,
that sounds good. Yeah, something to look forward to for all of our faithful subscribers that we got out there. But
we appreciate each and every
every single one of you.
Hey, comment with suggestions to rename Blake Stat Corner, by the way.
Yeah, we're kind of workshopping that one. But all right, man. Well, let's wrap this one up. This one was fun. Like, comment, and subscribe. Go check us out on YouTube. Check us out on all the other socials. We should have some short form stuff coming out soon. We'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.